Let's move on to some cricket. While the IPL's getting into full swing in South Africa, a very different cricketing adventure has just come to an end.
3 weeks ago, a group of 50 explorers left Lords on an expedition to Nepal with the aim of playing a 2020 match on Mount Everest. By doing so, the group were hoping to set a new world record for a field sport played at the highest altitude and raise some money for charity in the process.
Yes, well, we're pleased to say expedition leader Richard Kirtley, I can't even say it, but you managed to say it, is here with us in the studio now. Richard, we saw you before you went. Congratulations. Has it been confirmed as a new record yet?
Thank you. It's pending at the moment. We've just got to get all the documentation into Guinness and make a quick appeal, and should be confirmed by the end of the week, I hope. Richard,
where did the idea even come from in the first place, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, it came from a trip that I had to the region in 2006. I was actually just scoping some mountains that I might climb and saw this amazing plateau and decided that I was going to bring some boys out there for a game of cricket.
How do you prepare for an expedition of this kind?
Well, I mean, there was
altitude training and things?
Yeah, it was altitude training. I mean, the main thing was just cardiovascular training, really. We had to get everyone really, really fit. We had to get their hearts nice and strong. So yeah, it was just a lot of physical training. Yeah, and then obviously just finding the money to actually do it, which thank God we found eventually.
And what about the net sessions? Did you manage to fit in a few sessions in the nets?
We did, yeah, we did quite a lot of sessions down at the Oval and also at the MCC indoor school. Amazing facilities, so it was quite an honour to be able to get down there and smash the ball around.
Well, you almost didn't even make it, did you? Because it was a pretty hairy plane ride you had. We can just take a little look now at what happened.
The death flight.
But first, a death-defying flight onto a mountain. We're surrounded by mountains higher than we are. There's one right ahead of us, and the pilot's struggling to see. Suddenly, we spot the world's highest, tiniest runway, built by Sir Edmund Hillary. We're still in the game.
Quite a lot of relief at that point. Yeah, I've flown into some runways in the world, but that looks scary.
You stare into the mountain, and the mountain just looms up above you, and you can just see this postage stamp sized runway that is kind of at an upward angle. I mean, it's disturbing.
What about the name of the expedition, Everest Test? Certainly sounds like a test in every sense. Was there anything that surprised you about the expedition, about playing the game, anything you weren't expecting?
No, I mean, we knew it was going to be really tough. What surprised me, actually, was how everyone stayed together and everyone really... the tougher it got and the more chance it was for people to fall out. In fact, actually, the stronger the bonds were made and the more everyone came together. So it was a really impressive team effort in the end.
I mean, we all watched the Comic Relief does Kilimanjaro thing. Now, those guys are, you know, pampered celebrities. You're finely honed sportsmen, of course, but at any point did you think you might have taken on a bit too much? Was there altitude sickness or anything like that?
Yeah, there were a few moments. There were some quite disturbing points where, you know, a couple of the really fittest guys, they struggled with altitude. One guy we had to take down and put an IV drip in. We had an amazing medical team, so it's quite fortunate. But yeah, I mean, we're just really lucky with the weather and everything. We were just very, very fortunate.
It's funny, isn't it? Altitude sickness you think would attack weak people, but it actually can hit anybody. You just don't know who's going to suffer from it, do you? And there's no preparation for it either.
Exactly, it's a real lottery, and there's so many factors. If you haven't drunk enough water, or if you haven't been taking enough food, all these things, once you get tired and run down, these can bring on AMS. And so constantly we're having to monitor 50 people and make sure they're hydrating properly and eating properly. And
well, the kind of logistics like this for some people are probably slightly baffling. How do you even go about creating a cricket field on a mountain? Yeah, I think of a mountain like that. So how
it was a logistical undertaking. We had 25 porters. We carried a Flix roll-out pitch in about 6 different pieces. I mean, when you looked at the trainer porters going out with our cricket gear and all the rest of it was quite impressive. And but then everyone else on top of that was lugging up their own personal gear, so everyone had at least 15 kilos on their back. So it was quite a sort of strenuous trek.
But you played on a dry lake, didn't you?
Yes.
You have to clear rocks and stuff away in order to play.
Spent an entire day clearing rocks and stones, and all the locals got involved. And there were a couple of rocks that we just weren't going to shift. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Let's have an imperfect outfield. And the locals were like, no. Dug holes, rolled the rocks into them, and covered them over. It was amazing.
Wow.
How did the match go then?
I'm pleased to say that my team, Team Hillary, won. The best team won. quite chuffed to say. It was quite close. We went out to bat first, won the toss, and we made use of the early bounce on the pitch and just got away from them,
we
really.
can see you celebrating there.
Here you go.
But the pitch you took with you, seriously, it's not going to deteriorate much, is it, over the overs, did it?
No,
I mean, you say took advantage of early bounce, but it's not going to change much.
Yeah, it was just the sandy underneath. I think it
Right.
did soften a little. So we did sort of get away quite early. We had, I mean, 2 great batsmen to open with, and they really took the game away from tenting early doors, really.
Andrew Strauss wished you good luck before you headed off. Have you had any other message of support since you got back?
Yeah, we actually, interestingly, got a message back from the Queen. We played on her birthday, and so we wrote to her just before we left and said we'd like to play the match in your honour. And when we got back, there was a letter waiting for us saying how delighted she was that we played the game. So.
You were going to have tea, weren't you, celebrate her birthday? Did you do
did.
that?
We did do that, yeah. And then we had champers afterwards. So.
Most important question I've got for you. We talked about this before you left, the number of cricket balls you had to take up with you, because let's face it, if someone hits it for 6, you're not getting that back. So how many did you lose?
No, to be honest, we took 60 balls because we thought we'd really lose loads, but actually the late bed sat in a basin and we only actually ended up using the 2 balls that we opened each innings with.
Wow. So did you leave them up there for someone else?
Yeah, we left all our cricket gear with the various schools in the region, and we did a few coaching sessions on the way up, so hopefully we kind of promoted cricket in the region quite heavily.
Actually, that's another question I want to ask, a slightly sort of scientific, geeky question perhaps, but because the air is slightly thinner, do you find the ball flies through the air a lot quicker? Did you see that it was going for 6 more?
They were massive 6s, really massive. Like, it was quite impressive, and even though people weren't running in as fast on the run-ups, the ball was coming down the wicket, you know, deceptively fast, just because there's no air up there, no resistance.
So did you get your highest total ever or anything?
I didn't actually. Fortunately, my team did all the work for me. My cousin David, he opened up the batting and got a great score, 45, top scorer, and some kindly journalist reported that it was me that scored that. So
brilliant. That's what you need, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
What about, other than trying to set the record, you're also doing it for charity, so tell us how much you raised and which charities are going to?
Well, we're going to keep fundraising all the way till September. We've got a few little charity cricket matches we're going to do. The target's 250,000. I think we'll probably scrape about 200 grand in the end. For the Lord's Taverners, great charity, cricket-based, helps disabled kids get access to sport. And for the Himalayan Trust, which is a charity that operates in the mountains in the Himalayas, they make medical centres, education centres, reforestation programmes, that sort of thing. So 2 really great causes to be supporting.
What next then, Richard? Now that you know that you can do it, it sort of wasn't the logistical nightmare maybe that you might have thought before you headed out. What's next? Kilimanjaro or somewhere closer to home? Or?
I think we'll be taking cricket to some other places. There's another dried out lake bed that's 300 metres below sea level that I know of. So we might play the lowest game of cricket. I don't know, but there's a few ideas floating around. Got to be something. I know beach cricket's played already, but give yourselves a break. Go for some beach cricket somewhere
we'll do
nice. Something easy next.
Brilliant. Listen, thank you very much for joining us, and well done to all your team. Pass on our congratulations.
And do have a shave sometimes.
Yes, yeah, tomorrow.
Coming from you, that's just me.
Boyish good looks.
Let's move on to some other cricket news.